I'm Raj Kumar, President and Editor-in-Chief of Devex, back here in Dubai at the Global Education and Skills Forum with a very special guest from here in Dubai, Tariq Gurg, who is the CEO of Dubai Cares. I think most people watching this know about Dubai Cares. We'll get into that in a minute. I want to ask you first, because you've been a leader in the education space for a while, CEO of Dubai Cares since 2009, attending this event now in its 6th year. I think you've been to it every year.
Yes.
So you've seen the trajectory of the global education space. What is getting you excited now? What is new today that we ought to be paying attention to?
Well, Raj, we've been a founding partner with the Varka Foundation,
right.
NGSF, since the beginning, and how it has evolved from the beginning where it was and where it is today is something remarkable. Not only because what the content and how many speakers they get and what we talk about, but the sector has evolved a lot for the past 6 years. And 6 years ago, not a lot of people were talking about technology. Now they're talking about technology. Yes, a lot of people were talking about quality of education. They're talking about teachers and the importance of teachers. But today, we realize that the support to teachers is even much less than how it was there. The teaching profession is a profession that I fear that it's going to eradicate in the future. And if we do nothing about it now, we will not get quality teachers. And when you're talking about education, you're talking about quality education. You're talking about getting better learning outcomes to those children,
sure,
rather than just attending school and getting any teacher in. So first of all, this forum has been a successful forum in my eyes. Year after year, it's very relevant to the topic of what's happening in the world when it comes to the education sector. And what is important today, what we have to focus on, is actually quality. I'll come back to quality. Quality education is something really important. It is easy to bring children to school. It is easy to solve the access issue, although it's not that easy.
It's not done,
but it's much easier.
There's been a lot of progress.
Quality. Yeah. But quality, there was no focus on quality for the past 15 years or so. And I travel a lot to developing countries, to our programs, and I see a lot of children, a lot of teachers, and mainly to the rural areas. That's where we work. And you know, when you go to a country and you see those children, and some of them are not able to read, but some they are, and you wonder why. If you go to a developed nation and you go to that school, every single student will be able to read. One might be slower than the other, yes, but you will not find half of the classroom not able to read.
Right.
That's strange. And why is that? It is the interaction that the teacher gives to the child. So everything starts with the teacher, and with the Global Teacher Prize that the Varka Foundation and Sunny himself is putting, is something remarkable. Is to reinstate the teacher back again.
Right.
Is to show that everything starts with the teacher. Everything is about education and life. If you don't get education, it will be very hard to thrive in life, to expand your knowledge, to create solutions to health, to infrastructure, sure, to economy. Yes. But that is education, but without the best teacher, you won't be able to get education. So teachers are very important. It's always relevant, it's always the case, and it's the most important thing in education and quality.
What's amazing about this event, in part, it is a bit like the Davos of global education. You have all these world leaders and celebrities, and you've got ministers of education, but really the real celebrities here are the 50 best teachers in the world.
Absolutely.
That are wandering around, rubbing shoulders, and it does change the dynamic here. I know Dubai Cares has been around for quite a while. You're a philanthropy that focuses on this space, but tell us what's new with you. Given everything you've just said, what is Dubai Cares doing today? What's different about your approach to philanthropy and education?
So we expanded our mandate. So now I'll just tell you on a broader scale what we want to tap into. So for the past 10 years, we've been working towards providing children with access to education and even quality. So we're mixing both. Regardless of the MDGs, we were following the MDGs, and the MDGs was focusing on access, but we always had quality built into our mandate. So it was always about early childhood development. It was always about training teachers, curriculum development, building schools and classrooms, providing health in schools, school feeding, wash in schools. So everything got to do with access and quality. And what we've been doing for the past 10 years is teaching, training, and getting the child into school and making him learn. But now, since the SDGs have kicked in 2 years ago or 3 years ago, in 2015, the spectrum of what the SDG 4 is giving to education is large, is very wide, and that's what we wanted. In the beginning, when we started Raj, it was about primary education. But soon, in 2 years, we realized that primary is not the solution to education. It has to start from the early years. So it's pre-primary, the KG1s and the KG2s. We started working, we started implementing programs. Soon later, we realized, no, the biggest dropout rates starts after the primary level.
Yeah.
So we couldn't go into the secondary because it's a C by itself. So we said, let's work on lower secondary, where we transition the child from primary to secondary. But then we stopped there, and then we moved towards education in emergencies for the IDPs and for the refugees. But when the SDGs kicked in, and SDG 4 in specific, and this wide spectrum to cover everything in education, now we can go towards secondary. Now we can move towards providing youth, not only with education, but what happens to the youth after they finish education.
Right.
So earlier I was telling you we were teaching, training, but now what we have to do is create jobs for those young people. They finished high school.
Right.
What are they going to do? A lot of them will not continue higher education because of poverty reasons. Higher education is always money.
Sure.
Primary education, most of the governments in developing nations are moving towards free education, fine, but what happens after that? So you have the biggest population in the world now, youth, and they're the future. And if we don't provide them with empowerment, we're going to have a huge problem in life. And when I talk about empowerment, there's a lot of things to do. Youth employment, creating jobs for them, skill development. Skill development is one, and creating skills. So you have a bunch of youth who don't have any skills. So what we will do, we will create skills for them. We will see what is the niche that they like, and we will improve upon that skill. And then skill development, an existing skill that can be developed. Why? All of this is to create not only jobs, but even to employ them.
Right. Create access to the workforce.
Yeah, and then turn them into entrepreneurs. And entrepreneurs is not the entrepreneurs that you and we know, is in that context. How to convert $1 into $3, not a $500,000 investment into $5 million profit. No, it's how to convert $1 into $3, and that's what works. And once you see the interaction of youth starting from the secondary level and embedding this whole thing into the education system, not only testing new models here, we will embed all of this into the education system, so it becomes a nationwide program, and it's been taught in school and practiced in schools. So youth empowerment, creating jobs for them, skill development, turning them into entrepreneurs, that's the new thing we're working on.
So tell me about your operational model.
Yeah.
Because right behind us, you've got your pavilion here, and you're doing meeting after meeting after meeting with all your international partners who are here.
Yeah.
How do you operate? You're a philanthropy. You're giving money. Are you giving money to local NGOs? Are you giving to international NGOs? Are you partnering with government? How does it actually work? What's the scale of it?
Good question. We don't work with governments directly. We don't fund governments at all. We always have an implementing partner between us. So implementing partners either are UN agencies or international and local NGOs recognized by the UN system. And what we do, we make sure that that entity or our implementing partner they have an existing relationship with the Ministry of Education in that country. So they're part of the prioritization on the issues.
Okay.
They're part of the government's strategy.
So it's aligned.
Yes. And we co-design programs together that has to be aligned, as you mentioned, with the government strategy. And then that's where we go and have a link with the government. So I told you we don't have a direct relationship with them, but through our implementing partners, we do have the relationship with the governments. And what we do, we test and pilot new programs based on evidence, existing evidence. And then and then we get government consent to move on with this program. But later on, in 4 or 5 years down the road, when the program comes to an end, we go back to the government and say, is it working? They come back and say yes. And they say, what is the next step? They go, we want to scale it up nationwide. And we go, first you have to have ownership of it, then you have to buy into it. So investing, so putting part of the budget into scaling this up. And then we can look into whether we come into the phase 1 of the scale up and then attract international donors to come and scale it up.
So you're really looking to be a catalytic funding. How big is your philanthropy? Give us an idea, annual budget.
So compared to UN agencies and international NGOs, we're not that huge, but we do have around $35 to $40 million as annual grants. But what we do, Raj, is we test models, and that's what counts. We're not replicating existing models.
And then you can take it to scale.
Absolutely.
Now, one of the amazing things that happened this year is that the UAE has joined the Global Partnership for Education and actually gave double what was expected, $100 million contribution to the replenishment. I'm sure that's something you were engaged in some way, and I wonder, does this mean we're going to see more funding from the UAE, from Dubai, for education in general? Is this kind of part of a broader trend?
Well, the UAE has been the biggest donor in the world compared with the GNP for the past 4 years. So it was number 1 for the past 4 years 3 times, and only one of the years we were the number 2. So, and why is that? Is because the UAE has put in this into the strategy that they want to become we want to become a big donor to the world. The UAE is a small country, but the UAE is a rich country, and and how we saw our people evolve for the past 46, 47 years from a country that didn't have oil to a country that got oil, expanded and focused on education, to a country today is less dependent on oil than before. And to have that story, something similar to the Norwegian story. And when you have a story like this, what you want to do towards the end is help other nations with no benefit to those countries, because we had a story, and our story that we didn't have anything, and we became big in the world, and we want other countries to follow the same path, and all you have to do is support them. So the UAE has taken a decision to help other countries, and they will continue to do so. And education, yes, Dubai Cares, we've been working in education for the past 10 years. I've been working closely with our government also to see what they need from us to do globally when it comes to education. GPE, we funded in 2014 in their second replenishment. We were the first foundation ever to fund the GPE. And in the third replenishment last month, the UAE became the first Arab nation to fund it. So Dubai Cares and the UAE government has a lot of similarities in the DNA, and we just want to shift the paradigm, both of us, whether it's Dubai Cares or the UAE government. We want to shift the paradigm. We want something new. We want innovation. Investing in research is something also very important, and that's what we do, and that's what the government is also doing. And it is only research and evidence will lead you to innovation.
Well, congratulations on the 6th annual Global Education and Skills Forum, and thank you for taking some time to tell us about your work today.
Thank you very much.